I'm Andre Ellis. This is DuvalSports.com. Let's get into it. Let's go. I'm ready for the show. Today we're going to be talking about high school football, prep sports, and in particular, we're going to be previewing some matchups for this Friday. Some big matchups this Friday in high school football going to be coming up real soon. And so we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about individual matchups, team matchups. We're going to be talking about some of their kickoff classic and how they did last week and their practice games. And at the end, we're going to give our predictions to who we think is going to win those games. So like I said, let's go ahead and get after it right now. Let's start out with our first game. Our first game is going to be Atlantic Coast and Mandarin. This matchup has become the biggest game on the south side. It used to be Mandarin and Sandalwood, Sandalwood and Terry Parker. Not anymore. Now that matchup is definitely going to be Atlantic Coast and Mandarin. And with these two teams, you just never know what you're going to get. I'm out here by the pool on the 7th green, and they're mowing golf course. I've never seen anybody mow a golf course, but I guess you got to. But anyway, back to the podcast. So Atlantic Coast and Mandarin. So Mandarin comes in. Mandarin had a good showing against Ponte Vedra. They won their kickoff classic. Mandarin is led by T.J. Lane, young running back, but a fiery running back. The kid can tote the ball really well, find the hole, and coaches like him. Coaches like him a lot. I mean, coaches. I talked to them over the summer, and me and the coaches were always talking about kids coming, kids going, potential kids coming, potential kids going. And running back was one position where they were not concerned about. They did not want anybody to come over. And I was kind of surprised by that because I knew that they were young at the position, but I guess they liked what they saw so much in T.J. Lane and the way that they're going to have to feel that. That was something that they figured, hey, and they're going to feel that we can win with who's a lot bigger. We can win with it. They just, I think he honestly has the potential to just really be a beast, and that's Jeremiah Shack. He's a upcoming junior. He's 6'3", he's 200 pounds. He's all muscle, y'all. I mean, I saw him at practice, chiseled. He's physical with the defensive backs. He goes up for the ball, contests the ball, catches it. One of those guys that's just a physical specimen, a freak of nature, and somebody that's going to make a lot of plays for that. So like I said, the offense is going to run through T.J. Lane and Jeremiah Shack. Two people who can definitely handle the load of a Bobby Ramsey offense. And Mandarin has the largest offensive line that I've seen. When I went and did my spring roundup, they had the largest offensive line in the area. Cameron Crawford is 6'4", 280. John Sauer is 6'3", 275. Matthew Adams is 6'3", 280. Jordan Taylor is 6'4", 230. These are mammoth human beings. Christian Stasiak is 6'6", 300 pounds. When you talk about moving people. Those guys can move people, and they're going to be able to run the ball effectively because of that big offensive line. And they are really going to be able to impose their will, and that's the type of offense that they're going to have this year. They're not going to have the big flashy offense. They're not going to force the ball to Shaq. They're going to pick their poison. They're going to kind of pick where they're able to get first down. They're able to go for the touchdown. They got a nice freshman over there, Jamie French. I don't see him contributing too much early on. Just here and there, special teams, maybe, some catches. But for the most part, we know it's going to go through. It's going to go through Shaq. So Mandarin's defense. Now Mandarin's defense is one that has some heavy hitters over there. They've got some heavy hitters over there, and they can get the job done. And, they showed that last week that they can. One of my favorite players is Carmelo Murphy, the linebacker that's in the middle. This kid, he's about 5'10", 5'11", 210 pounds. He's solid, all muscle. He's a tackling machine. And what I love about Melo is he's a football pedigree. His dad, a long-time youth football coach in the area, Coach Bean. Smart guy, really close to his son. So Carmelo knows the game of football. He knows every position. He's played running back before. He's played quarterback. So him being in that middle is just a great asset for Mandarin to have. He knows where everybody needs to get lined up. He knows and dissects the plays on offense and knows where they're going. He's one of those seek and destroy middle linebackers. So really, really love him. Another guy on defense is Antoine Murphy, defensive back, senior. He's 5'10", 165. He comes up and really makes some good tackles. He always knows where the ball is going. One of those senior guys, again, where he's seen everything, so you're not going to fool him. He's not one of these players where you're going to fool him or trick him in that secondary. And so that's always good. And of course, you got Tony Carter, the outside linebacker / strong safety. The hardest hitter on their team, 6 foot, 190 pounds. This is a kid that can play at the next level. He's one of those kids that I talked about in my last podcast that, just needs that bump, just needs that COVID bump. COVID really killed recruiting for 2022. And so in the midst of a pandemic, you're going to need to make a lot of plays this year. You're going to have to stand out. Tony Carter's going to stand out. He's going to make those big explosive plays on defense. He's going to get a fumble recovery for a touchdown. He's going to get a jarring hit for a fumble. And so those are the type of plays that stand out. Those are the type of plays that you need in order to get to the next level. Now, Atlantic Coast, I really like this team. They didn't look very good in their kickoff classic. Sorry, they go that tractor again, mowing the golf course that clearly is already mowed. I don't understand. I just think she's just going in circles, trying to get paid for hours of work that is not there. I wish I could show you the camera of the grass not being mowed. But anyway, Atlantic Coast. Let's start with the running game. Arthur Fats Walker, senior. He's about 5'11", 5'10", runs about 200 pounds plus. Solid running back. He's added some speed. I saw him in 707 this summer. He caught a long touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone. That's a new wrinkle that I'm sure they're going to put into the offense. With him being able to do that, with him being able to come out of the backfield and catch the football, that just opens up everything. on offense. Opens up Jacob Corley. In my opinion, their most athletic and dynamic weapon on both sides of the ball. Corley can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. He can line up at running back. He can even play quarterback for you, run some RPO, even throw that pop pass. Corley is just a machine. He can do everything. He's very athletic. I saw him at the 707 as well, and he was just killing defensive backs, killing them. You don't have to take my word for it. Ask every certified, bona fide baller in Northeast Florida, and they'll tell you about Jake Corley from Mayport Middle. My man. Went over the First Coast, had some really good years over there, put up some really good numbers. Didn't get the recruiter bump that he wanted. Went over to Atlantic Coast. I think that's a great place for him. But Atlantic Coast is starting to put kids into the next level. So watch out for Jake Corley. He's gonna have a big year. He's probably gonna have a big game that day. I don't really know anybody on Mandarin's team that can stop Jacob Corley. The question mark for Atlantic Coast is Baylor Hayes, quarterback. He didn't look too well in the practice game, and I know it's practice games. I mean, I know, hey, you shouldn't take this seriously, or we're only playing the starters for 2 quarters and things like that. But those 2 quarters, you still want your starters to put up some really good numbers. Who has their starters in for 2 quarters and expects them to not put up touchdowns? And he didn't put up any touchdowns against Jackson or Mainland. And that's something that is concerning for me. So hopefully Baylor Hayes, that quarterback, he's young, he's a 2024 kid. He looked good at 707, but 707 is different, man. When the rush is coming after you and you're undersized, you're short, you quick, man, you can avoid the rush, but you can't avoid a 4-man rush. You got to get the ball out of your hands and put them in your playmaker's hands. So if Baylor can find Corley often and quick, let Corley get those yaks, hand the ball off, allow Fats to establish the running game. I think Atlantic Coast will definitely have a chance. All right, let's move on to our next game, and like I said, at the very end, we'll give you our predictions. Sandalwood and Fletcher, a big-time rivalry. I've played in this rivalry several times in my playing days. You can just toss the records out the window. You can toss the players out the window. None of that matters, man. I mean, when those fans, when those students pack those stands and start shouting and start making noise like this lawnmower is again right here by me, when that happens, you can just count everything else out. For real. You can just hang it up, because that momentum and that euphoria from the fans just fuse players, and they just do some really incredible things and stuff. So it's good to see that this game is back on. Last year it got canceled because of COVID and some other things. A couple years before that, the game got canceled because there was some drama. There's always some drama with some kids that don't even play football, always trying to start some mess. Just get a life, get a job. If you don't play football and you don't want to do anything with your life, go get a job. Go work at McDonald's. Go work at Whataburger, man. Man, you can work overnight, bro. Make some really good money, bro. But don't be trying to shoot up the game, man. Don't be trying to shoot up the Fletcher Sandalwood game, bro. Take your behind home, like I said, go get a job at Whataburger or something. But anyway, Sandalwood, quarterback Chris Calhoun, assassin, our highest rated quarterback on DuvalSports.com. Our Mandarin rating has him rated 99. That's the highest that you can go. And if you don't believe me that he's at 99, go look at the huddle tape. Go look at for yourself. He is the ultimate weapon. Everything runs through him. He can pass. He can run. He's an excellent decision maker. He's super smart. College prep courses. He's just the real deal. UConn commit. Really nice size. He's 6'2". He's over 200 pounds. So he's not one of these skinny, small quarterbacks. I mean, he's got size. He's got one of the biggest arms in the area. I mean, he can sling it. He flicked his wrist and threw a 50-yard touchdown to his wide receiver, Khalil Ward, last week. Just an impressive quarterback, an impressive player. And Sandalwood got a special one. I'm glad he came over. I was trying to get him to come over to Sandalwood for several years before he came. Even when he was at Reebok starting as a freshman, I knew he needed to be over at Sandalwood learning under Jeff Sims in a backup role. He didn't get that opportunity to learn under Jeff Sims in the backup role, but that's okay because he's matured enough to where the last 2 years he can step right in as a senior and a starter and a junior and senior, step right in and lead that offense. He's got some help back this year. He's got Jeremiah Huntley. Huntley is back. Huntley is back. And I'm very happy that his rehab, that he finished up his rehab. Last year, you all don't know, he suffered a knee injury. Right as the fall practice started, right before the season started, just a terrible injury to suffer, especially for a running back. But, he was able to get into the rehab and able to get back out there. And he looked good in their kickoff classic. He showed quickness. He's slimmer now, which makes him a little bit quicker and faster. He catches the ball out of the backfield now, not just that pounder, which I'm glad that they're incorporating that more into their offense. They're going to run him, yes, and he's going to get really good yards. But they used to run him like a big, bruising back, and he's not that big. He's maybe 5'11", 6 foot. He's probably about 180 pounds. So he's not that big bruising back where you just pound and pound and pound and, get those yards. You got to find different ways to get unique yardage out of him, whether it's a screen pass, a swing pass, whether it's a pitch on the outside. But his speed looked really good the other night. Ronnie Norton, a wide receiver that came over from Trinity Christian, the state champion Trinity Christian Conference. Ronnie Norton comes over, has a state ring, adds to that receiving corps for Chris Calhoun. Look out for Ronnie. I think he's going to make some really big plays in the passing game. Now, my concern for Sandalwood, their defense. Now, McCray on the defensive line, really good player. McCray is really good. He gets off of blocks. He makes plays in the backfield, tackles for loss. Just a really good player. And I think McCray is one of those players that can anchor the Saints defensive line. Now, the problem with that is, you have to be able. You have to be able to have another person on that line or a linebacker that can back you up. You got to have somebody who can either back you up at linebacker or someone else on that line that can hold it down. So let's talk about who we feel like can do both. So there's Anthony Brackenridge. He's 6'3", 190. He's a linebacker. I think he's somebody that can hold it down. Now, they didn't look good against Spruce Creek and didn't look too good against Parker, although Parker played a lot of their backups. So we're going to have to see him in action against a good Fletcher team to kind of totally assess whether they're going to be able to really hold that down. Savion Blunt, a junior, he's about 6'3", 240 pounds. He's got the perfect size. I don't know if they're using him right. He needs to have his hand in the dirt going forward at all times. They stand him up, put him in a 2-point stance a lot, and blockers are able to get into his chest. And he's not able to use that big butt of his. Like he's got that big butt that where, you need to put your 3-point stands in the dirt and have that butt and those hips and those thighs fire off. Okay, that's football talk. For y'all who don't know football and don't talk football, I don't know what to tell you. Go watch tennis or something. But when we talk about butts and hips in football, that's what we're talking about. Going after the quarterback. Okay, butts and hips in other sports mean other things. Okay, so Savion Blunt, somebody who has the potential to have a really big year. Hopefully, he'll be able to get off blocks, penetrate, cause havoc, and back there and do his thing. Kid that came over for the secondary, Marquise Lundy, a leader in the secondary, came over from Baldwin, was their number 1 defensive back over there. Look for him to have a really nice year. Sandalwood's secondary is going to struggle, though. I mean, they lost Jadon Kennedy, player of the year, 10 interceptions. They lost Robert Simmons, Billy Cookman. Kennedy, of course, went to Tulane. Robert Simmons, very good defensive back. Generated lots of turnovers last year. Amari Mitchell is one of those players that's overlooked. No one ever talked about Amari Mitchell. But if you looked at Sandalwood's secondary last year, Amari Mitchell played every position. He played the nickel, he played outside, he played safety, he played strong. Like, he played every position. He played every position well. He got interceptions, come up flying up, making tackles, just throwing his body. And so, you're going to miss a player like that. I mean, a player like that is somebody that's hard to replace, And so when you don't have a player like that, a player like Lundy comes over who's just consistent. Like, he just lines up. He just is consistent. He knows the route you're going to run. So he's already in place for the ball when it's thrown. So he's going to be able to shut his player down and be in the right position to make plays. But he's going to need help in that secondary. And hopefully Sandalwood can find the right combination of players to be able to do so. Let's talk about Fletcher a little bit. So Fletcher, of course, new head coach, Cedric Faison. And Fletcher looked really good, surprisingly, to me. They looked really good in their kickoff classic. They ended up defeating Creekside 16-14, which was very surprising to me, like I said, because Coach Faison got there 2 weeks ago. He just got the job. They just hired him 2 weeks ago. Of course, we know former head coach Bobby Rawlson, domestic violence, was arrested and subsequently fired. And then so they made a phone call to the hometown hero, the beach's beloved, Cedric Faison, and he said yes. So this matrimony should last for over a decade at least. At least that's what he was told. That he's got the keys to the city out there, the beach. For how long, they told him at least a decade that he gets to build his program the way that he wants to. So hopefully they hold serve to their promise. Fletcher, I really like. Let's start with their best player. Let's start with their best player. Their best player is Aaron Hester. Aaron Hester plays defensive end. He is a maniac. Okay, maniac. Aaron is about 6'4", 230, 20 pounds maybe. Just a freak of nature, you know. And his dad played NFL football. His dad was my linebacker coach in high school. Taught me everything I know. So I know he's teaching his son everything that he knows. So he's super smart. He's super intelligent. There's no block that he's seen that's going to surprise him. He's going to be at that quarterback, man. He's going to have double-digit sacks this year if teams throw the ball. If they throw the ball, he's going to have double-digit sacks. If they don't, he's stout in the run game. You're not going to be able to run the Aaron Hester side. So that's a bright spot for Fletcher and their defense. Merritt Reynolds, another senior, family of Coach Reynolds out there. Super smart player, of course. Family, football pedigree. He's 6'2", 185. Look for him to make plays in the secondary for Fletcher. Here's a kid that I want to talk about, Marcellus Tate, quarterback for Fletcher. He's 6'3", 180. Athletic, really makes plays. He is somebody that can get on the edge. He can get the ball downfield. He can push the ball downfield. It's a little deceptive because you think that, okay, they'll play very conservative, but actually, they can actually push the ball downfield, and Tate can get the ball downfield. So that's a plus that Coach Faison has, where you've got to respect his running ability, but you've also got to respect his passing ability. And he likes to get it to his tight end, Trey Rose. Man, let me tell you, Rose is a crazy, freakish athlete. I mean, he can jump out the gym. One of those guys. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, long wingspan. Like I said, has very good vert, very athletic, and he has a deceptive first step. That first step gets him past defenders, and Tate puts the ball on him. So Sandalwood's going to have to watch out for that. Sandalwood doesn't have anybody that can defend Trey Rose. So that's going to be a problem for them. They don't have anybody that can line up and shut down that big tight end, that 6'4" guy that can run down the seam like that. So, of course, Sandalwood's going to be content with trying to stop the run, trying to contain Tate, but they're going to need somebody who's going to try to stop Rose. So, again, we'll come back with our predictions at the end. Moving on. Trinity Christian visits the graveyard and comes to Reigns. Now listen, this game is always billed as the best in the city every time they play. Two historic programs. Reigns, of course, state championships, 3-time state championship. The only public school to do so in the 90s. Only the second Duval County public school to win a state championship. The other one, of course, is Mandarin, who won it a couple years ago. Coach Ramsey out there. Coach Massillon heads Reigns, and this year Reigns is a different type of team. In the past, Reigns has had bigger players that have been able to usurp their authority in the trenches and on the line, at the linebacker position, even at the running back position back in the day with Brandon Marshall a few years ago. Not a big back, but a bruising back, strong. Move the chains, very muscular. A gym rat. Reigns doesn't have that. They don't have that running back that they can just hand the ball off to and get first down. Just bruise their way 10 yards for a first down. They don't have that. They don't have a huge offensive line where they can just impose their will and get those 5 yards and a pop and get those first downs. So on offense, they have to be a little more creative in how they get their yardage. And what we saw in their kickoff classic against Ed White and Zarabag is they have a lot of speed on the field. So a lot of sprint option, a lot of toss, a lot of sweeps to the right, sweeps to the left, try to get defenses running laterally, sideline to sideline, to see if they can pursue and make tackles on those fast guys. One of those fast guys is Jaquan King, probably the fastest guy I've seen. They had him at quarterback because a lot of the starters couldn't play because it's Saturday school. They had to do Saturday school and be eligible to play. Come on, guys. This is for everybody that's listening to this, everybody in the whole Northeast Florida area. Get your grades, okay? Get your grades first so you can play. You can't play, you don't have the grades, okay? All right? Get your grades. So, Jaquan King, they'll put him back at wide receiver, and he's going to make plays in the slot. Carlton Butler is their quarterback. Carlton is not a big kid, not a big arm, not the fastest, but he's consistent. He's been their starter for a while, so he knows where the ball goes. He can get it there. And, the challenge for Carlton and not just him, but the Reigns offense is going to be consistency. How consistent can they be to be able to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers down after down, to be able to put together consistent drives and for it to end in points? Not just one score, but you're going to have to score multiple times in order to beat Trinity Christian. You're going to have to score with Kareem Burke. You're going to have to score with Quincy Burrows. You're going to have to score with the Jaquan King. You're going to have to score on defense with the Kyrie Hammond at safety or Keaton Kirkland at defensive back. So, you're going to have to make plays with these playmakers you have. All of them are fast. We know that they're state champions from track. So, we know that they're able to cover a lot of ground very quickly. So we know that Kyrie is one of the best free safeties in our area. They don't call him Mr. Pick Six for nothing. He's a monster back there when it comes to interceptions. So that's what Reigns is going to have to do in order to have a chance to defeat Trinity. Trinity comes in, they have a freshman quarterback, Colin Hurley. All the talk around Colin Hurley, hey, can he lead the team? Hey, can he hold up to the pressure, of all of this hype that he has? Because he has offers from Florida State, he has offers from Miami, he has offers from Ole Miss and Florida. So he's got these big D1 offers as a freshman, lots of pressure on his shoulders. Can he hold up to that pressure? Well, last week he threw a touchdown and he threw an interception. Pretty consistent. That's what I would have predicted for the first game, a freshman quarterback, varsity game, a good team in Ricketts, 5A. So, and they tied. They tied 29-29. So that's not a bad showing. Of course, I know Trinity would have wanted to win, but that's a consistent showing. And what Colin Hurley showed in his debut was his ability to get the ball out of his hands quickly, get it to his playmakers, and his playmakers to make yards after the catch. They were making yards. They were making yak. Xander Ross, Freddie Highsmith. These guys were getting the ball in their hand and getting downfield. When Ricketts decided to blitz Hurley, saying, hey, okay, he's young, he's a freshman, let's send the blitz after him. Hurley surprisingly showed very good athleticism, was able to roll out of the pocket and hit wide receivers in stride for first downs. So that's a positive for Trinity to be able, that Colin can get out of pressure situations and still make plays down the field. So, I love the way that Trinity schemes up their plays. They put a lot of effort into game planning. They study the defenses. And they have a play drawn up just to fool that defense. And they had a play drawn up against Ricketts. Xander Ross scored on a long touchdown. They'll have a play for Reigns, so Reigns' defense better be ready. I'm hearing that Trayon Webb will not play in this game. I'm hearing that from his dad. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm hearing that from his pops. I don't know how true that is. He said it had something to do with that's not football related. So hopefully he will be able to suit up since it's not football related, since it's not school related, anything like that. You know, it's not disciplinary related. So hopefully he can suit up, and the Oklahoma commit junior can run wild at the graveyard. He can put on a show. But if he doesn't play, Darnell Rogers, he scored a touchdown last week, had 70 yards rushing on 13 carries. You know, he's somebody that Coach Ross loves, man. Coach Ross will put the ball in Unk's hand and just let him run. You know, he is not afraid to put the ball in a freshman's hands last year. Now, Coach Rogers is a sophomore this year, so he's not afraid. Cam Miller, who's playing defensive back for them, Penn State commit, he'll come over on offense and run some zone read, run some option. He scored last week a touchdown at the quarterback position. So don't be surprised if you see number one on offense under center running that. So some players to look for Trinity. Let's start with Katie Morrell. KK is what they call him. Just a monster in that middle. Just devours everything. I mean, he's what we used to call a scud missile. He just seeks and destroys everything. One of the best linebackers in the area. Jonathan Goddard, another one of the best linebackers in the area. They're standing him up this year. He's making a lot of plays standing up. He can also put his hand in the dirt and rush to passer. So also Keaton Thomas, he's playing linebacker now over at Trinity, coming over from Bowles. Big, strong kid, athletic, makes a lot of plays, physical. Trevin Smith coming over from Oakley, defensive back. The other defensive back, physical. He came up, made some plays. He had a safety against Ricketts. Real aggressive kid. That's what Coach Highsmith loves. He loves those kids. They're able to go after, be aggressive, make plays like that, make those safeties. And so that's what Reigns is going to see. So X Factor, Fred Highsmith versus Keaton Kirkland of Reigns. Who's going to win that matchup? You know, who's going to win that matchup, and who's going to be consistent all game with that matchup? You know, who is going to be able to win their individual one-on-one matchups to make the difference in this game? You know, who's going to be able to do that? That's the question, because we want to see Kirkland on Highsmith, and we want to be able to see Highsmith get down the field and make the catch, make the touchdown, make the catch for the touchdown. You know what I mean? The ball is there, catch the ball, make the big play, and then we also want to see Kirkland come back and make the big interception and run it back and pitch it to Kyrie and have the graveyard going crazy. We want that type of game. We don't want this boring penalty laden game. A boring, very mundane type of game. And this has all the billings of a game like that if the players come out not ready to play. You know, This is Reigns and Trinity, and it has all the billings of being a game, like I said, if the players don't come out and show why they're the best in the area. I just highlighted all of them. Now it's just time to come out and show out. And we know you can to put on a show. This is the game of the week for everybody. Everybody I talk to is going to be at the graveyard on Friday night. They're going to be there. I already talked to Coach Bannister. He already said that he got banners going to be hanging from the Raptors. All types of businesses that's going to be there. Food trucks. The band's going to be there. Scouts, of course, going to be there. College scouts going to be there because they can come now. Everybody's going to be there. Now it's just time for y'all, the players, to put on the show. All of y'all got offers. Quincy going to Cincinnati. Kyrie going to Mercer. Excuse me. Y'all get me choked up, man. I'm thinking about this. Kirkland, he's got several offers now, getting offers from Miami and Florida State, all these things. You know, Cam is going to Penn State. Webb is going to Oklahoma. Man, y'all show up and show out. That's all I got to say. Let's move on to our next game. We're gonna preview a few more games, and then we're gonna run down the gambit and we're gonna pick them. Okay, we're gonna pick every game, even the games that some of y'all are not interested in. We're gonna pick every game. Okay. Riverside and Terry Parker. Riverside and Terry Parker. This is a very interesting game. This is one of those games that's kind of an interesting game because, to me, you have to look at individual matchups in order to understand how the game flow is going to go. And let me explain that. Okay? So let's start out with Terry Parker. They got nice wins in their kickoff classic versus a big Spruce Creek team. Spruce Creek had an offensive line that was out of this world. They were huge. But the way that Terry Parker won the game, and I'm glad that they decided to start to go this route. Somebody looked down the Terry Parker sideline and said, man, we got a receiver that's 6'4" in David Hamilton. Man, we got another receiver that's 6'1" in Tyreek Williams. Man, we got another receiver who can run like the wind in Thomas Smith. Man, let's get the ball to these guys. And that's what they did. That's what they did. The moment they decided to put the ball in the air, and that was the title of my story on DuvalSports.com. Go and check it out. It details how Terry Parker won their kickoff classic. But they were able to put the ball in the air and get past Spruce Creek's secondary and to make plays. Jalen Petway, 2024 quarterback, tossed a long touchdown pass to Thomas Smith. Touchdown. Here comes Roman Doles, 2023 quarterback, does the same thing. Tosses a long touchdown pass to Thomas Smith. And just like that, Terry Parker wins. That's how they're going to win games. That's how they're going to win. Coach Dorsey, Coach Holloway, if you're listening, that's how you're going to win games. You're not going to win games lining up, handing off with the RPO, with the zone read to your running back, having them trip over your offensive lineman. You're not going to win that way. You're going to win dropping back, letting that talented quarterback Petway put it on the money, letting that talented quarterback Doles put it on the money. That's how you're going to win. Now, traditionally, having two quarterbacks, rotating them in the same game, creates a quarterback controversy. I'm just here to tell you, I'm just talking real, y'all. I mean, this is the Duval Sports Show. This ain't the Duval City Football Talk BS show. this the Duval Sports Show, okay, where we talk real here. Okay, we talk real. We talk real about coaches. We talk real about players. And when you have two quarterbacks who can show that they can get the job done, that creates controversy. So yeah, there's controversy at Terry Parker. There's controversy in Arlington. Who are they going to start? Are they going to start Petway or are they going to start Doles? No one's asking that question, but I'm asking the question. Petway looked very good, and they like Petway. They've talked about Petway all summer about how he's come to practice, and he's built rapport with the receivers, and he's got a really nice arm, and he's a coach's son. And so he's got a lot of these intangibles working in his favor, and I wouldn't be surprised if they started the kid. He's a sophomore. He's been eating good. I mean, he's a big quarterback, so, he's not the most athletic-looking guy. I don't know how much that'll play into it, but he's young. He's a sophomore, so he's got to get some of that baby fat off him. Doles, of course, is Doles. He's athletic, he's confident, and he can play. He can play. The knock on Doles is that, hey, he's not the most accurate quarterback. He's not as accurate as Petway. I'm just being honest. So, yeah, there's a controversy there. Now, he showed he was pretty accurate in the kickoff classic. What he shows in practice probably will determine who gets to start. Probably will. And my sources are telling me that Petway is going to get the start. No matter who gets to start, they've got to get the ball to their playmakers. They've got to get the ball consistently to David Hamilton, Thomas Smith, and Tyreek Williams. If they do that, then they have a good chance. Riverside, of course, we're going to see Jaheim Singletary matched up against one of those receivers. I don't think he's going to follow one of them. I think whoever lines up to his side, that's probably the assignment that he's going to get. So there'll be opportunities for Terry Parker's receivers to get work on the other side of the field, because right now there's nobody else really showing that they can shut down receivers consistently opposite Jaheim Singletary. Riverside, of course, let's talk about their offense. Their quarterback, they got a controversy too. We talk about the controversy of Terry Parker, man. Riverside got a controversy too. Man, do we know who is a starter at Riverside? Do you know? Do you have the inside scoop? I thought I had the inside scoop. I was told Daniel Plummer III will be starting week 1. Now, week 1 is come and gone with the kickoff classic. Now, maybe they meant week one like Terry Parker week 1. Maybe they meant that. I don't know. But me personally, if I knew who my quarterback was, why wouldn't I start them against Barton Trail? There's no other reason to be playing double dutch with my starting quarterback. If I know who he is, put him in and let him make some plays. But I digress. So Riverside got Kale Zahar, and they got Daniel Plummer. Now, Kale started last week. That's what I heard. He started the game. He looked really good, ran the offense, was efficient, didn't turn over the ball, didn't make any mistakes. Got the ball in the hands of Al Gibson, and Al Gibson scored a touchdown. Running the ball. A typical Riverside General offense. RPO, get the ball in the hands of Al Gibson, run for a touchdown. Now, Plummer came in the game, and if you saw the huddles, or if you saw on social media, Freddie Manning posted it, Daniel Plummer posted it. Yeah, hey, look, we saw Daniel Plummer come in the game and throw some sick passes down the field. He didn't come in and say, hey, okay, we're going to dig and dunk 5 yards here, 5. Nah, he said we're going to push this thing down the field and make some plays and open up the offense. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what Lee wanted to see. They wanted to see their offense explode. They've always had these players. They've never had nobody that just can ignite their offense and boom. And now they got it in Daniel Plummer. He threw a back shoulder pass to Freddie Manning, who had a crazy one-handed catch on Sharif Denson from Bartram. Inbounds, got his feet in bounds for a 20-yard gain. He had a 40-yard pass down the field to Ricky Shaw, who comes over from Jackson. Big-time receiver. I love what Ricky Shaw is doing over there at Riverside. Love the rapport he was making with the quarterbacks. Yeah, man, Daniel Plummer came in balling. So you got a controversy. So it's gonna be interesting to see who starts at quarterback for Riverside. Why don't you tell me? Leave it in the comments. Who do you think is going to start at quarterback for Terry Parker and Riverside? Is it going to be Petway or Doles? Or is it going to be Plummer or Kale? Which one? Leave them in the comments right now. Type them in it. Tell me who you think is going to win. Moving on. Westside takes on Andrew Jackson. This is my favorite game of the week. Now, I know it's not the most flashy on paper. I know y'all going to be at Reigns and Trinity and all that. But this is my favorite game of the week. Westside and Jackson both have very good coaches. Rodney DeBose for Westside, Coach Foy for Jackson. Two very great staffs. Both of them know how to get their players motivated and ready to play the game of football. And that's just something that you got to respect. That's something that you really got to love about those two signal callers. For Andrew Jackson, their quarterback, Jalen Sonnier, my man. I coached him when he was a youth football player at Pablo Creek. He was a Pablo Creek Saint. He had an arm then, y'all. He had an arm then. I would sub him in because, as a youth football team, you traditionally run a running offense. So I had a quarterback who ran faster than him. So I had a quarterback who would come in and run my option. And then when it was time to pass, I would bring Jalen Sonnier in. And he would throw that thing downfield. You hear me? He would throw that thing downfield. And he's still throwing that thing downfield. You hear me? I said he's still throwing that thing downfield. Man, he had a great showing at his kickoff classic. And that's what I was trying to tell y'all earlier in this podcast. You want to be able to put up points or put up plays in your kickoff classic. That's what you want to be able to do. You don't play the game to be like Bartram Trail, play your starters for a quarter and a half, and then put the rest of the team in. Put your JV in. That ain't going to help you down the line in the playoffs. That ain't going to help you against an American Heritage. That's why American Heritage came up here and wiped the floor with them last year. You need reps as a starter. You need reps against first team reps. And that's exactly what needs to happen. But Jalen, man, he looked really, really good, man. He can sling that ball. He's gonna have a good running game, and I like the fact that Fred Gaines is there, running the ball, making lots of plays for Jackson. And honestly, with with Sonier playing like that, the sky is the limit for Jackson. You know, when you have a signal caller who can instill confidence in the offense, where he's not turning the ball over, not only that, he's throwing touchdowns. And if you look at the game, man, I mean, he was able to move the chains with his feet. He's going through every progression. He's going from his first read to his third and fourth read in a practice game. The man, he had a 73 Madden rating before the kickoff classic game. 73. He had 82 and 86 with his arms, so he had good arm stuff. Some of the other stuff we had was about that made it lower, that made it in the 70s, was because he lost Ricky Shaw. Who was he going to pass it to? So, you know, a quarterback is only as good as his receivers and vice versa. So, I mean, you can have a great arm all day, but if you don't have receivers that can get open and can catch, it's all for naught. Well, Sonier found Caleb Francis in the end zone for a 30-yard touchdown. Y'all know who Caleb Francis is? Do y'all know who Caleb Francis is? Well, Caleb Francis, he's listed as a free safety and a defensive back for Jackson. But apparently they're going to use him on offense. And he's got good size. He's 6'1", 175. Apparently he can run. Apparently he can catch too. But at 6'1", that's great size to be on the opposite side of the ball. And if you catching 30-yard touchdown passes in the kickoff classic from Jalen Sonier, then you a bad man. You a bad man. So look out for that. I mean, look out for that combination. Francis and Sonier, man. Just some good stuff going on with Jackson. I mean, they were able to beat Mainland 14-7. They were able to beat Atlantic Coast 14-0. On defense, Jackson is led by the linebacker who has turned so many heads this summer, Grayson Howard. Now, Grayson went down to the Under Armour camp in Orlando and showed out. He won the most outstanding linebacker award at the camp down there. And it just basically, it blew him up. It put him on the map. Everybody was able to see his size. He's 6'3", 6'4". He's 210 pounds, 215 pounds. He's long, he can move, he's aggressive. And everybody saw that. And so now, guess what? Offenses know about Grayson now. So now, Grayson, this is the question. Now that offenses know about you, what you gonna do? It's like Hulk Hogan, you know. What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when the offenses come after you? Yeah, man. Are you gonna step up? Because now offense is keen on you, so they're gonna send their best tackle to block you. And speaking of tackles, Westside's tackle Jordan Hall, he's one of the best in the business. He's big, he's physical, and he is big time. So he's 6'4", 270 pounds of just mammoth. And he'll be keen on Grayson Howard. So it's going to be a good game. Two big-time teams, big aggressive teams going at it one another, and it's going to be come down to the playmakers and Westside with Antoine McCray, one of the best playmakers around. When the ball is in his hands, watch out because he can take it to the house at any point, any place on the field. So when you see him, when you see a big guy like Jordan, watch out. Westside has definitely got the weapons. They're a young team. Coach Duval to tell you that they're a young team, but they do have players here and there with the maturity and the talent to get them over. So Westside and Jackson, that's going to be a good one.